Hey guys, and welcome back to the Scrumpy Kiwi. This is my first video now in a very long time, and I do apologise. I'm not forgotten about the channel, but basically just had a lot of work on, a lot of family stuff. Been quite tired, long weeks at work and stuff like that. So sort of modelling stuff like that's kind of taken a bit of a back burner, but I'm back and I'm going to try and do now some more videos over the next couple of weeks because I'm going to be having a lot of stuff coming in. I'm going to be really starting up my 40k stuff. I've still got all material from Christmas that I need to make, but I am going to be getting into that, and as you can see in front of you, I've got my Lord of the Rings stuff out today because I'm going to be talking a bit about that. A bit before Christmas, a group of friends of mine said they wanted to get into Lord of the Rings, and I had already had a bit of experience with Lord of the Rings, and so I wanted to get back into it as well. But we both agreed we didn't really want to play GW rules. None of us had an overabundance of money, and we just sort of really wanted to be able to find perhaps a more generic fantasy rules system that was easy and quick to learn. So as I've said in previous videos, or maybe mentioned, that we stumbled upon Fubar. And Fubar is, for people who don't know, a one-page rule system which you can go on the net and find. They have supplements for various different historical settings as well as Lord of the Rings. And they were really good to begin with. We really enjoyed them. But we kind of felt there were certain things that worked, certain things that didn't, and at the same time, certain factions that weren't even represented at all. So we started writing our own homebrew rules for it, and we've kind of come to the point now. I think we're in our own third 3.5 probably edition wise. Yeah, 3.5 Fubar homebrew rules 3.5. I think we're all calling it, which has basically now become sort of the rock solid rule system we all use. So basically, how the system works is very similar to your typical war game. Is that you have your force. Forces are based, of course, on point system. The way that you work out your points is by what skill rating they have. So that will be either grunt, seasoned, veteran, or elite. What armour they're wearing, what weapons they're using, whether they're mounted or not, etc., etc., etc. You'll work out then the base sort of cost for an average unit. And then, of course, you then multiply that for how many's in a warband. We typically stick to around 100 points per warband, and games 250 points, maybe 300, because of course there are quite a few of us playing, so that all adds up. And yeah, so the rules we've worked out is that the way the actual main game operates is very simple. Footmen, can run 6 inches, run 12, charge 8. Bows shoot 12 inches, longbows shoot 18, etc., etc., etc. Your very standard stuff. And then for individual factions, before the game starts, there is for each faction a couple of abilities that you can pick for each individual warband, but you can only pick one. And what we wanted to do was give each game its own sort of distinctive strategic flair. So one person may find that for one game they may want to choose, for instance, with Rohan, Furious Charge, which always gives them a 3+ on the charge, which is very useful. That may work if you're attacking. If you're defending, however, you may want to have Sword and Shield, which is an ability that where all Rohan armed with shields get 2 attacks. So to basically show that they sort of use the shield as like a blunt weapon as well. And that would sort of work for more defending, to give your guys the most amount of attacks possible. So that's basically what I've been up to recently, just writing different additions to these rules, and we're really working out. I think we're all pretty happy with them. We've played quite a few games. Everyone's sort of found the different force they like, and I'm going to tell you a bit about my Rohan stuff at the moment, what I've got. So I've actually bought very little of this. This has all mostly been given to me or donated to me by mates, which is very good of them. And I will walk you through, sort of warband by warband. So at the front here, still not painted, which should be, is my Rohan Royal Guard. You can't see them that much, they're all black painted. But yeah, these guys are veterans. They're wearing medium armour. Because they're, again, even though they're Rohan, even though these are sort of the top guys, for Rohan they're all quite light armoured. They need to be able to jump up on a horse, and being very bogged down with heavy armour isn't great. However, they do come with shields. What's good about shields is that gives you a +1 to your armor rating. So technically, these chaps are classed as having heavy armor, despite the fact they're only wearing medium, because that's what the shield does. Gives you a +1 for your armor save. As you can see, he's got a spear. He's only using the spear one-handed, however, so he unfortunately does not gain any combat multipliers for that, but they are veterans, which means they will pass morale checks on a 3+, and they'll hit on a 4+, without any modifiers, which is pretty good, your average unit. So yeah, that's my Rohan Royal Guard. I have got 3 more, but I'm going to show you those in another video because I am yet to open those. Here we have the sort of my first mini sort of medium-sized warband of Rohan Fjerdsmen. Now Fjerdsmen are your basic grunt. These are the bottom of the pile, unfortunately. So these are sort of the guys who have been rounded up from farmsteads and called upon by their lords to come and fight for Theoden. So this here is my own custom-made bannersman, which I'm pretty happy with. What I've done is he had a sword. Yeah, he had a sword. He was charging forward with a sword. So I've cut that off. Got a toothpick. Filed the toothpick down because, unbelievably, toothpicks themselves are too big for the hands of 25mm miniatures. So yeah, cut that in half. Stuck that on either side, and then a bit of scrappy paper. Torn that up and attached that to the end. Super glued it to make it a bit more rigid, and then on the back, if you can just make out, you can there where the shape is, that is his sword that I've popped in the back, and then I've got a little bit of string and put that going round to make it look like he's sort of lassoed his sword to his back. Lassoed? Lashed? I don't know, whichever. Bannermen are cool. The bannerman will give me an extra 2 inches on all movement. That's what banners do, so that's quite cool. Wait, no, maybe? Yeah? I can't remember the rule. No, I don't think it is. Drums do that. War drums or war horns. What do banners do? Banners do something for morale. I can't remember. Can't even remember the own rules I've written. Fantastic. So yeah, so that's them. That's my bannerman there. The first group of Fjerdsmen, they are lightly armoured, so they save on a 5+. Though they do have shields, of course, so that means they'll save on a 4+, which isn't too bad. However, because of their expertise in combat is a 6+, they are very, very naff. They are not good at all. A mixture of weapons there, mostly hand weapons, all one-handed, so again, no bonus multipliers there. They've got a couple bows in there, which will, they'll be alright. Unfortunately, because they're only just your generic short bow, they are not going to gain any sort of extra shots for the turn again. So they're again very cheap, very average, well, very rubbish. But they can choke up an enemy long enough for the big stuff to get in. And that, of course, is these guys at the back, who you may be able to see, which are my Riders of Rohan. So these two at the back are just, again, your average ones, your average Riders of Rohan stuck on bases. This one, however, is one I had to make, first of all, a base for, out of some out of a picture frame, an old picture frame. And I thought while I was making something, I would have a little bit of fun. So I've sort of been a little bit I don't know what you call it, adventurous, and modelled the horse slightly leaning at a slant, just to give it the feeling that he's perhaps leaning into a turn. Likewise, I've got then the rider, he's a bit more angled, he looks like he's perhaps taken up an opportunistic chance of firing a shot. And the tail as well, I cut off the tail and I've raised it a bit higher just to give it a bit more feeling of speed. And I'm pretty happy with him. Once he's all painted up, you wouldn't even probably know that he's not on a proper base. But yeah, I've cut that out, roughly the right size base for cavalry. But beggars can't be choosers. So yeah, now we're moving over to the stuff that I have actually painted. And leading at the back, this warband of Rohan riders, who are very good, actually, I should point out. Well, they're not very good, but they're better than Fjerdsmen, and being mounted does give them the advantage. So, Riders of Rohan, they're seasoned, so they pass morale checks on a 4+, very good, well, average. They have expertise of 5, so again, not great. However, being mounted does give them the advantage of being able to move further, charge further. They hit harder when they charge, and yeah, depending upon what ability I give them for games, which will probably be Furious Charge, so they gain a 3+ in charging. They're going to be pretty good. They'll be a hard hitter. So the idea is just run them in, charge them in for a bit, have a bit of a muck around in combat, and then get them back out again and do rinse and repeat. This chap here is my custom made Rohan captain. Unfortunately for an old Minas Tirith knight, which I had one of for some reason, he had to make the ultimate sacrifice to become something better than the sum of his parts, and that is this guy. So all this body in here is Minas Tirith knight, Gondorian knight. The shield, of course, the spear. This part of the spear is Rohan. The helmet is Rohan. I just found the sort of most sort of ornate sort of helmet I could for a captain. The horse, I had to pull the Minas Tirith knight off of the horse with Gondor, stick him on a Rohan one, because of course the sort of all the horse stuff, the rider stuff, is different for Rohan than it is for Gondor. And then also it meant painting up some of the armour to look more like leather as opposed to metal, because Rohan uses more leather than metal. Then the base, I did this, I just sort of put a couple stakes in the bottom of it, an axe there, a shield at the back, and that was it really. Sorry for the poor camera work, this thing just, there you go. And that's him. That's my custom captain. Oh, and the cloak, of course, on the back is again just a bit of paper ripped up, stuck on, given a nice paint job, wash, and they, Bob's your uncle. That's all done, and I was really happy with it. It was something I was very worried at one point was not going to turn out very well at all, and actually came up pretty good. And then here at the front again is my final warband of Fierdsmen. Again, very average, very basic. Probably give them shield and axe in combat, so they can double their attack. So they'll have what's it? I think I've got about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 20, about 21. So you're looking at about 42 attacks. Just from those guys, which is a lot. Yeah, alright, they're hitting on 6+s, but there's going to be a decent amount of attacks in that, so they're pretty good. They're probably not going to save me. They're not going to make it through many combats, full number of them, but that will certainly give the riders at the back their chance to get in. Likewise, my Rohan Royal Guard here should be able to take out quite a few, seeing as they're better fighters than these guys. Quick thing about these guys, the spears here, some were broken, so again, cocktail sticks just filed down and given to that, because I kind of wanted these guys, seeing as they're Fierdsmen, seeing as they're sort of bottom of the ladder, I wanted them to feel that their weapons were a bit more improvised. Yeah, sure, some of them have got proper spears, proper axes, proper swords, but I wanted some of them to feel, perhaps they sort of had to grab their stuff, just on the go. They just, pulled off a bit of a branch tree or something, sharpened it up, and, off they were. And that's it, guys. That is my Rohan force. There is a couple more things to come to show you, but that's sort of done. I can't really roughly give you an idea of how many points are there. I think with the new additions I've got now, that should be about 250 points, which is pretty cool, which is, like I say, the right size army I want for the tournament that I'm about to do with my mates, which I'll hopefully have some battle reports of. We're calling it One Tournament to Rule Them All. I know, full on geek. Yeah, that should be really good, so I'm looking forward to it. So I'll show you these guys, show you guys more of these guys. That's the one, that's English. And hopefully you'll enjoy it. So thanks again, guys, for watching. Sorry it's been so long since my last video. Thank you all to the new subscribers, to everyone with comments, etc, etc. It means a lot, you getting involved and supporting the channel, and I'll see you guys later on. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.